We begin with the breaking developments overseas. The American embassy in Baghdad under siege, the situation escalating. Hundreds of protesters storming the gates, retaliation for U.S. airstrikes targeting an Iranian-backed militia group in Iraq. The mob setting fires, scaling the walls, breaking through the outer barricades. Protesters smashing doors and windows. U.S. military choppers overhead firing flares to protect Americans on the ground. The embassy now on lockdown. About 100 Marines sent in for support, and we're just learning hundreds more troops could be on the way. President Trump warning Iran will, quote, pay a very big price. ABC's James Longman leading us off.
Chanting death to America, an unprecedented assault. Hundreds of Shiite militia and their supporters today laying siege to the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. It's supposed to be one of the most secure in the world, and yet crowds tried to storm the compound, setting fire to guard posts and embassy walls, prying an embassy flat at the entrance and trying to break through just a pain. American troops taking up position on the roof of the embassy, firing tear gas as hundreds of U.S. personnel hunkered down inside. And the fog of tear gas, flags of Qatar Hezbollah flying outside in U.S. airstrikes over the weekend after they killed an American contractor. Their supporters had come from the funerals of their fighters to attack the embassy. President Trump today laying the blame directly on Iran, tweeting, "Iran will be held fully responsible for lives lost," adding they will pay a very big price. This is not a warning, it's a threat. Happy New Year. And he called the Iraqi Prime Minister, demanding he protect the US embassy. But Iran's grip over Baghdad's government is tight. One sign of that today, before the attack, Iraqi security services had allowed militia members to flood this diplomatic area, normally off limits. By nightfall, a show of force. 2 American Apache helicopters firing flares over the embassy in a warning to protesters. More than 100 Marines have now arrived to reinforce security at the embassy, and we're learning hundreds more US troops will be deploying to the Middle East, effective immediately.
So let's get right to James Longman. And James, right now there are still no plans to evacuate the embassy?
No, that's right, Whit. And tonight the situation outside the embassy has calmed, but those militia groups have repeated their vow to retaliate against the US, demanding its withdrawal. Tensions with Iran still at an all-time high. Whit.
All right, James Longman, our thanks to you tonight.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
An unprecedented confrontation between the U.S. and Iran on Iraqi soil. For the first time, U.S. airstrikes targeting bases of an Iranian-backed armed group, killing and injuring dozens. The operation in response to a series of rockets that struck military bases where U.S. personnel are stationed. A U.S. contractor was killed in the most recent attack in Kirkuk.
What we did was take a decisive response that makes clear what President Trump has said for months and months and months, which is that we will not stand for the Islamic Republic of Iran to take actions that put American men and women in jeopardy.
Qatar Hezbollah is part of the Popular Mobilization Forces, a paramilitary group set up to fight ISIL. It's integrated into Iraq's armed forces, though the U.S. has accused some factions in the PMF of taking orders from Tehran rather than Baghdad. Until recently, the U.S. and the PMF fought side by side against ISIL. Following ISIL's territorial defeat 2 years ago, the U.S. retained around 5,000 troops in country to support Iraqi security forces as they search for ISIL sleeper cells hiding in deserts. One of those clearing operations coincided with the U.S. mission against Kataib Hezbollah.
The Ain al-Assad air base here in western Anbar province is an important launching pad for operations against ISIL. But recent rocket attacks against bases where U.S. personnel are stationed, including Ain al-Assad air base in early December, could hamper operations, raising fears of a proxy war between the U.S. and Iran on Iraqi soil.
In an unusual announcement following the Ain al-Assad attack, the U.S. publicly blamed Kataib Hezbollah. The Iraqi government hasn't attributed blame, but has tightened security.
There are increased security measures for Ain al-Assad Air Base in cooperation with coalition forces. There are surveillance, patrols and additional troops to secure the outer perimeter of Ain al-Assad to protect the base. Investigations are continuing until now, but it's not completed.
Promises of investigations have done little to reassure the US. None of the government's probes into any of the previous rocket attacks have been published, though analysts say the details are well known.
I think that the Iraqi Joint Operation Command and the Iraqi intelligence has many details about the people who attacked the K-1 base in Kirkuk. The Iraqi government was confused because the pressure of Kataib Hezbollah is deeply entrenched in the Iraqi parliament and the Iraqi government, and that's why they decided to keep in line with Iran and the Iranian political parties.
The Iraqi government, divided and weakened after 3 months of protests demanding sweeping political change, has called on all sides to cease any unilateral actions. Neither the US nor the PMF appear to be listening. Both have vowed to take action.
Umiiyak ko. Galing pala ito sumayaw, pre. Galing pala ito magbunot. Selfie na muna, Ishimen.